This video series is going to be exploring the nuances of social media and mass data collection, how they reinforce one another, and what we can do to ensure and protect data rights. Before all that, we must first understand how social media companies work. Traditional firms operate in a simple fashion. They come up with a product or service, sell it at an appropriate price, pay the expenses, make profit, and repeat. This is how they operated since the dawn of time, and how still the majority of companies conduct business today. But let's look at Facebook for a second. Under the traditional model, the service would be the Facebook platform itself, the ability to make the posts, check out what your friends are doing, and waste endless hours scrolling through memes. The problem is, using the Facebook website is free. So if Zuckerberg isn't charging you to use a service, how does the company even generate a dollar? That's the catch. Companies like Facebook do not function traditionally. Far from it. In fact, their business model probably would not have worked 20 years ago. Unlike the business model of General Motors, for instance, which involves just two parties, buyer and seller, Facebook requires three parties, the user, the platform, and the advertiser. You are the user, using the platform by posting things, chatting with friends, and scrolling for endless hours. Facebook is the platform, providing the means to do all these things. The advertiser is the customer, paying for the Facebook platform. How do they do this? As the name suggests, by putting up ads. Facebook charges the advertiser to allow them to post an advertisement. With this, Facebook isn't the product. Your attention is. Advertisers are paying Facebook for your attention. As Investopedia explains, the real transaction here isn't you receiving enjoyment in the form of a free, temporary distraction created by a media company at a great expense, but rather that media company renting your eyeballs to its advertisers. And recently, thanks largely to machine learning, this was amplified by something else: data. Advertisers want data. Why, you may ask? Let me explain. Suppose you own a video sharing website like YouTube with 1,000 daily viewers, and I'm an advertiser for a video game company. The people who are most likely to buy my video games that I'm selling are younger people, mostly male, and probably already play video games. These people who are young, male, and already play video games are the people I should target. If I want to advertise on your website and target these people, how would I do so? I ask you to collect data on all its users, sell it to me, so I can analyze it and use that to filter out the users that I should target, the young male who already plays video games. That way, you can monetize your YouTube by selling the data you collect as well as the ad space, and I use my ads more effectively by targeting them to specific users who are more likely to buy my game. But hold on, now that you also have the data, since you're the one that collected it in the first place, why can't you do something with it? Turns out you can. Since you have all this data on your users, you can figure out what will keep them watching, in this case being something like which videos to recommend. Well, why would you want to keep the users on the website? Because the longer they're on your website, the higher the chances are of them clicking on one of my ads. With this, you can charge higher prices for each individual ad that I want to put up. Your website turns from a cave into a gold mine for advertisers. This is the essence of how social media companies work, and because they're mining more and more data from their users, advertisers have a more and more accurate scope as to who to send their ads to. The result? Data is now the most valuable commodity on Earth, surpassing the value of oil in 2018. The common phrase is, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. While it may sound like something out of the mouth of a conspiracy theorist, it has some nuance to it. Both your attention and, more importantly, your data is the product being sold to advertisers. Facebook, Google, Reddit, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of these free social media platforms are becoming the richest in the world because they have their hands on this commodity. And they will go to great lengths to collect as much data as possible, from taking note of how long you spend looking at each particular photo online. Oh yeah, they literally do that, by the way. And with these lengths that they go to and the boundaries that they cross, one could argue that this is essentially mass surveillance, systematized and writ large.